please leave me be. Don't take me, please. Oh, please, dear God.
Bloodborne is a Dark Souls follow-up in all but name, but it's too different to be called a mere copy. Bloodborne is not short of mysteries, but its story beats are inescapable. The Souls games led you through parishes and cathedrals, but never have they made such grand statements with their subject matter. Only now has developer From Software allowed an extravagant religious parable to mirror its death and resurrection mechanics.
I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral.
Outside of this clear theming, the developing saga comes to life through the sights and sounds of its world. Bloodborne sucks the faith, hope, and charity from religious devotion, populating its world with grotesque disciples and forcing the meek into their homes. Bloodborne is not nuanced. It's unafraid to go big, to the extent that you may find yourself saying to yourself, did that really just happen? That its malformed majesty works so well is Bloodborne's greatest feat. As with the Souls games, however, Bloodborne doesn't typically tell you where to go and what to do when you get there. You're given a few vague, overarching goals, but the intricately interconnected regions and pathways, along with nebulous visual cues, lead you to your destination. Thankfully, this world is one worth knowing, and knowing well. After Bloodborne soaks you in its Victorian London look, it introduces greater graphical diversity. Bloodborne tells a story with its environments as you press onward, echoing its plot with its architecture and its enemies. There's a blight on this town in the form of seriously long loading times and occasional frame rate foibles, but it's worth powering through the occasional technical problems. Bloodborne is a joy to play, both in how it cribs from the Souls games, as well as in how it deviates from them. Your Souls combat skills apply to Bloodborne, but only to a certain extent. If you relied on a shield to defend you in the past, you won't find the shoddy shield you discover in Bloodborne to be of much use to you. The game demands mobility. Avoidance is imperative, lest a group of demon dogs tear your flesh apart while leaving you powerless to slash your way out of danger. Yet, slashing away is a compelling response due to Bloodborne's health regain system. Should you take damage, you have a limited time to gain some of that lost vitality by landing hits of your own. This system may strike you as incompatible with the rhythms of typical Souls combat, but it's a wonderful fit in Bloodborne. You see, your foes are just as agile, even the hulks that descend upon you in Bloodborne's boss battles. Boss arenas are typically large, affording you plenty of room to escape the wrath of the horror staring you down, and affording that horror the same luxury. Circle strafing can no longer be your default strategy when the enemy proves more limber than you. These might seem like small adjustments to the formula, but they change the way you apply fundamental skills, like when and when not to lock onto your enemies. You can carry a firearm in your left hand, though it makes for a poor offensive weapon. That's not just because it's tuned more for staggering enemies than for damaging them, but also because ammunition is a finite resource. There's no spell spamming equivalent in Bloodborne, though a rifle or blunderbuss makes a fine accompaniment to whatever blade you wield in your right hand. That melee weapon, by the way, is transformable. A cleaver, for instance, is great for doing close, rapid damage, but its secondary mode extends its reach at the cost of speed, and transforming during active battle delivers a third type of attack as the weapon morphs from one state to the other. As expected, Bloodborne can be brutal, not as hard as Dark Souls or Demon Souls, but a step above Dark Souls 2 in its level of difficulty. As a result, mastery requires properly reacting to enemy behavior, understanding how much space you must put between you and your prey, and knowing when and when not to exploit health regeneration. Bloodborne also takes the survival horror aspects of its close cousins to new heights. Some enemies aren't just terrifying because of their size or their power, but because of the hideous sounds they make and the shocking entrances that jolt you out of your trance. From Software continues to break the rules of video game adventuring to fantastic effect. Bloodborne kills you again and again, and inspires you to venture once again into the same territory in hope of regaining the blood echoes you lost there. Help arrives in the form of other players, which you see as spirits in your own world. You can also drop spectral messages on the ground, alerting other players to traps and other dangers. There are interactions in the form of direct cooperation. Ring the right bell in your inventory, and you'll either summon a helper to your world or signal your availability to others. It's always wonderful to have someone to distract another gargantuan boss while you sprint and to damage it from behind. These multiplayer components are also available in Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons, which are procedurally generated adventuring areas that you enter by performing a ritual in the hub world, which is called Hunter's Dream. Standalone dungeons are a neat idea, but there are too many caveats to make them as worthwhile as you'd expect. There are specific bosses in there to defeat, such as a humongous flaming watchdog, but if you don't periodically perform new Chalice rituals, you can outlevel the ones available to you and breeze through them, which isn't much fun. I also encountered numerous bugs in Chalice dungeons, like getting stuck in place and glitchy boss behavior. The finest treasures are not found within the Chalice dungeons, but within the city of Yharnam, and the forests, lakes, and purgatories beyond it. I finished Bloodborne in a little less time than I did Dark Souls 2, maybe 60 hours or so, but I treasure it more. Knowing that there are many secrets I never uncovered keeps me coming back. Now, at level 101 and 3 bosses into a New Game Plus, I have no intention of stopping.